Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I welcome you all to English class 7th, session 2021 to 2022. I hope you all are well. Before starting today's video lecture, I would like to congratulate all of you on your promotion. Now let's begin with today's lecture. First of all, I would like to tell you about the book which you are going to read in this grade. It's Better English Literacy Skills by Maria Raleigh, grade 7. Now let's talk about the contents which we are going to cover in this grade. The first is Unit 1, Antarctica and the South Pole. Next we have Unit 3, Koalas Not Bears. Then we have Unit 4, Sinbad's Secrets. Then Unit 8, Treasure Island. Then we have Unit 10, The Wooden Horse of Troy. And a poem is also there. It's your Unit 2. And this was all about the contents which we are going to cover in this grade. Now let's begin with Unit 1. That is Antarctica and the South Pole. It's on page 4. Open your books, page 4. Now let's begin with reading and explanation. Antarctica and the South Pole. Antarctica is a huge continent at the bottom of planet Earth. The continent and surrounding Southern Ocean are also known as the Antarctic. Antarctica is bigger than Europe, but not quite as big as North America. It has no native people, no native language, and no money. 98% of Antarctica is covered in an ice cap that is on average at least 1.6 kilometers thick. Not surprisingly, it is the coldest, driest, windiest place on Earth. Going to Antarctica is a bit like going into a deep freezer. Now, I would like to show you the pictures of Antarctica. As you know, Antarctica is one of the 7 continents and it is the coldest place on Earth. Why? Because 98% of Antarctica is covered with ice. There are thick layers of ice and only 2% is water. This is your Antarctic Ocean and it is 98% ice and the rest is water. Now it is bigger than Europe but not bigger than North America, and there are no local people, so there isn't any local language and obviously no money. Now let's move towards the second passage, that is the South Pole is in the very middle of Antarctica. There are 2 seasons in the South Pole, winter and summer. During winter, that is March to September, it is dark all the time because the South Pole is facing away from the sun. The other 6 months are summer, still freezing when it is bright 24 hours a day. Okay, the South Pole, it is one of the 2 points that intersects the Earth's surface while rotation, and where it is in the very middle of Antarctica, and there are only 2 seasons in the South Pole and they are winter and summer. During the winter season, that is from March to September, it is dark in Antarctica, totally dark in Antarctica. And what is the reason? Because the South Pole, it is facing away from the sun, so there is no light. It's dark during winter. The other 6 months that are summer, they are still freezing while it is bright 24 hours a day, but it is still freezing because of the quantity of ice. As I said earlier, that 98% of Antarctica is covered in thick layers of ice. So summer months, they are also freezing. Now, the next passage is, who wants to live in the coldest, windiest, driest place on earth? Now, it's a question that arises here. There are some things, and they are the penguins, seals, whales, a few types of birds and fish, of course. The Antarctic is teeming with wildlife that has adapted to living in freezing conditions. Penguins huddle together for warmth, and whales and seals have plenty of blubber, that is fatty tissue, to help prevent them getting cold. Okay, let's have a look at the wild life of Antarctica. These are penguins and they love to live in these freezing conditions. They huddle, they play together, and they love to live in this ocean or continent. Some of the other wildlife is also, as you can see the pictures, we have ice fish, some of the birds, beautiful Antarctic birds are also there. The seals are there, whales are there, and this was all about the wildlife of Antarctica. Now, Antarctica is filled with wildlife, beautiful wildlife. Okay. Now, there are some more things which will surprise you, and they are the Antarctic airports. Now, let's talk about the Antarctic airports. It's unbelievable, but you have to believe it that there are quite a few airports in the Antarctic, and the most recently opened airport is Wilkins Runway, which is 40 kilometers from the coast. Work began on the ice runway in 2005 but was carried out during summer months only, because even during the hot season the temperature can be as low as -35 Celsius. Now let's have a look on this Wilkins runway. This is your Wilkins runway, and as you can see, the runway is all ice. It's an ice runway, and work began on this runway in 2005, and it was carried out during the summer months only, because the rest of the months, that is winter, it was not possible at all to work because of the ice. Now this is your Wilkins runway, and it is 40 kilometers away from the coast, and it's 4 kilometers long as well. Now let's talk something more about this runway. Before the use of planes and helicopters, it took scientists 5 weeks to travel from Australia by boat to Antarctica. They can now get there in less than 5 hours. Okay, because of this runway, when scientists, they wanted to travel to Antarctica, how many days it took? It took 5 weeks to travel by boat to Antarctica. But now, because of this runway, it takes only 5 hours for the scientists to reach to Antarctica when they want to study about the Antarctic and the Southern Ocean. Now, let's move towards some of the meanings which I have written for you. Now, the first word is continents, or continent, you can say, a very large area of land. It means, then we have native. Native means a local resident or local. Teeming means be full of or filled with. Third, we have huddle. It means gather or crowd. Next, we have blubber, fatty tissue, fat or fat. Recently means not long ago. Then adapted, adjusted or changed. The last is prevent. It means stop. Now these were some of the difficult words which I wrote for you. If you find more difficult words, you can consult the dictionary and write all the meanings on the book, right? Now this work you have to do on the books. No need to write anything in your notebooks. This was all about today's video lecture. I hope you enjoyed today's video lecture. I want you to read it again at home and find more meanings and write on the book. Now, I thank you all for listening, and goodbye. Take care of yourselves. Meet you in the next class. Allah Hafiz.